Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first info session on our new Mining Law and Sustainability Executive Education Program. And yeah, we've, as you can all see, we're going to jump right in because we only have you for an hour. We want to make sure that we use all of your time and in a valuable way. So we're going to jump right in. I think there might still be some people joining as we go along, but I thought I'd start us off right away and just give you a sense of what we're going to cover today. We're going to, you have on the screen an agenda for the day. I'm going to introduce you to kind of how the time is going to go together. I'm going to look at some of the highlights of the course, and then we're also joined by the course author, Dr. Daniela Chimisso dos Santos. And so she will then also speak to the curriculum, and then we'll have some questions at the end for everyone. Can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So yeah, just some general tips. If you haven't joined these kind of presentations before, we have muted your audio. You can choose to turn off or on your video as you choose later during the Q&A. We're also recording this, so I just wanted to let you know that if you prefer not to have your video recorded, if you're speaking later, you can keep your video turned off. We are recommending that you go to the view options and choose the side-by-side option. That way you will see the presentation and then you will see the speaker next to it. It's the easiest way to make sure that you have everything on one screen. So you can go to the view options. It's located on the top right of your screen. And if you click the arrow on the drop-down menu, you can see the side-by-side option there. There's a number of other viewing features there as well. You can go to speaker view or gallery view. It's up to you what you prefer. And just a note that we're actually turned off the chat feature for today's info session. We are using a different medium for our Q&A and our questions. It's called Slido. And so what I would invite you to do is to open another browser window, or if you have, use your cell phone and do it on a second device. So just type slido.com into your browser window and enter the event code MLS01, and it will take you to the interactive part of this session. So there'll be some participant questions later on for you, and the Q&A will be conducted through that as well. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we're recording this. So for those who might not be able to join or who might have to leave early, we're posting this to the YouTube channel after this, and we're also emailing out to everyone who had RSVP to this session. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a quick introduction. My name is Kerstin Walter. I'm the Director of Professional Programs here at the Peter A. Allard School of Law. I'm joined today by Dr. Daniela Chimisso dos Santos. She is the instructor of this course and also the course author. And we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so program highlights. I just wanted to give you a quick overview before Daniela will go in a little bit more into the specific curriculum. The biggest highlight I think that we have is that this course will be 100% online, so it's very flexible. You can access it in your own time. It's one module per week over 5 weeks. And then our instructor, as I just mentioned, Daniela, is an expert in the mining and expert in mining and sustainability. She has practiced law in the oil, gas, and mining industries for over 20 years. She has an extensive national and international experience in sub-Saharan Africa, South America, and Asia. Daniela is the principal consultant at Invenian Consulting Solutions and was recently a senior governance advisor at the sustainability consulting firm Proactiva. In the past, she has held roles at McCarthy Tétrault, Shell, Hatch, and Vale, where she led a team of more than 45 lawyers in 11 jurisdictions. So we're very lucky to have her join us for this for this first inaugural Exec Ed course here at Allard. And yeah, so she has brought a very unique lens to this course. And so the unique focus of this course is on the mind's life cycle, considering Indigenous rights, climate change, and anti-corruption efforts. The content of the course is a mixture of video lessons, case studies, recorded expert guest interviews, and there is peer-to-peer learning through online discussions so that everyone who takes the course, that we can interact with each other on the topics of each module. And because it is completely online, it is very accessible. You can take it regardless of where you're located, and also whether you're in Canada or not, independent of citizenship or residency. So it's open to anyone worldwide. Okay, and so we have a few questions for you today to get to know you a little bit better and to find out a little bit more about all of you. And so if you go to the slido.com and type in your the code MLS01, you will get to the first question, and you can start typing in and letting us know, what industry are you employed in? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of mining. It's great. Just wait to see a few more come in. Yeah. Okay, construction was an interest in mining. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Mineral exploration, mining, okay. Okay. I'm just gonna give it another minute to see if anyone else is chiming in. If you have any trouble accessing Slido or it's not working out for you, just unmute yourself and let me know. It's always difficult in presenter view. Tailing dam management, okay. That's very great. Okay, perfect. I think we're ready to move on to the next question. And so what we're hoping to find out today a little bit too is like, what role do you play? What is your position, so that we can get a better sense of kind of who we're talking to today and what areas might be most of interest to you. Okay, legal counsel, consulting geologist, geotechnical engineer, okay. Project geologist, mining hydrologist, okay. Specialist, okay. Wonderful, it's very diverse. It's great. Mining engineering, okay. 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 CEO of China Morning Company, okay, whenever we have a junior. Consulting. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. This is really helpful. It'll help us make sure that we're covering topics that are relevant for everyone. And the last question we have before we move on in our presentation is just, what is your area of expertise? We would love to hear about that from you. Okay, mining exploration, construction engineering law, okay. Chemical engineer. Okay, geological structural mapping exploration, okay, wonderful. Maintenance and reliability, okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. That is really helpful for us to get a sense of who we're speaking with today. And so, yeah, I will just move through a few more kind of overview points before I'll hand it off to Daniela. So as I mentioned before, it's 100% online, but it is instructor supported. So it is not a preset course where you just work your way through on your own. It is instructor supported for each of the weeks. And so you'd be working with Daniela throughout the entire course. You have one module per week over 5 weeks. The course is currently set from September 27th to October 29th, 2021. We're estimating that the time you would spend on the course is around 30 hours total over the 5 weeks. So it's 5 hours per week. And then it'll be roughly around 5 hours for the case study or the final paper. It'll be on our Excel UBC Learning platform. You'll have video lessons, readings, recorded interviews, case studies, quizzes. So it's a very interactive setup, and then you'll be assessed through quizzes, and then either two case studies or a research paper. You can choose that at the beginning of the course. Okay, perfect. So we're now ready to jump into the curriculum. So I'm going to hand it over to Daniela and invite Daniela to jump in and take over and jump into the curriculum.
Excellent. Thank you so much and welcome everybody. I'm absolutely delighted that we're doing this information session. I just want to make sure that everybody is hearing me. I was on mute just to make sure, but I think that now everything should be working. So it is an absolute delight to be here with you. And so I'm going to walk through a little bit of the curriculum and what were the considerations that we thought of to put together this curriculum for you, and what I think are the biggest takeaways that we would like to see from this course. So first and foremost, as Kerstin has already said, and thank you, Kerstin, for the introduction and for the overview. But ultimately, the curriculum it's 5 modules, and we have 2 foundational modules. The first is an introduction to business and law, and the second one is an introduction to in week 2. And it's an introduction to indigenous peoples, law, governance, and consent. And then we have the curriculum goes into the life of mind, and we explore exploration, developing, and operating in mind, and closing in mind, and some conclusions. One of the biggest and most important aspects of this course, sorry if we can just remain in that slide. One of the biggest and most important aspects of this course is that it is geared to provide you with legal literacy on a number of different issues and a number of different perspectives. And so what we are offering is not only sort of general law, legal framework of mining, but also specifically with regards to indigenous rights, but also in this new discussion of this movement from corporate social responsibility to human rights, within the anti-corruption arena, what's happening there, and then finally in the climate change perspective. So now if we can move on to the next slide, thank you. Thank you. So anybody that's worked in mining and natural resources knows what a project looks like. You know how it works, but I wanted to say a few words specifically on why we focused on the life cycle of a mine, and why we have built this curriculum so that it follows the life cycle of a mine. And the reason why we've done it is because we want to ensure that there's an understanding that the 4 major components of sustainability that we are interweaving within our course are actually critical aspects that impact business decisions at different points, and they impact them differently. So when we look at indigenous rights, we look at business and human rights and corporate social responsibility, we look at anti-corruption, and we look at climate change. When we look then we interweave that with the business demands of exploration, the mine development, operations, and the closing of a mine, they do so in different ways. And the business pressures and the legal frameworks that apply are somewhat different. And we want to make sure that is a really big takeaway from this course, that it's not sufficient for you perhaps to understand how human rights due diligence works at the exploration phase when the final investment decision is about to be made, but actually how it works throughout the entire life cycle of a mine, and not only from the project perspective, but also from a board of directors perspective, and what are those responsibilities and how those trickle down. If we can move to the next slide, please. So the way that the curriculum is structured is that we have 5 modules, of which each module has 3 lessons. And as I said, the thought behind this is the interweaving of these issues within a layered approach. So lesson 1 will look at business and law. Lesson 2 will look at what Indigenous participation looks like in that specific moment in time with regards to the business pressures that are arising. And then the 3rd lesson then interweaves corporate social responsibility and human rights, anti-corruption, and climate change. And the fundamental objective is to really bring home the fact that business decisions and legal decisions need to ensure that all these 3 aspects are interwoven in that decision-making process. If we can move to the next slide, please. Now, one of the aspects of this course that makes me the most excited, and I think that makes it really unique and really special, is the fact that we've had the opportunity to interview experts and leaders in the field. And I've brought for you some examples so that we can really explain to you how unique this course is. So first of all, just to give you an example, when we talk about the business of mining and we talk about the pressure points of the business of mining, we speak with Mr. Tony Hodge. Mr. Tony Hodge is the ex-president of the International Council of Mining and Metals. When we speak about Indigenous rights, and we speak about the Supreme Court of Canada decision in the Tsilhqot'in Nation, which was the first time that Aboriginal title has been recognized in Canada and in the world, we speak with Chief Alphonse, who's the tribal chairman of the Tsilhqot'in Nation, and the longest serving chief. That he was there. He's been the chairman of the tribal chairman since 2009, and he, in his words, will be explaining the Tsilhqot'in decision and what it meant for his nation. We have also for the Nevson case, I think anybody that has had any involvement in mining in the past 2-3 years knows about the Nevson case, but we've had the opportunity to speak with the co-counsel to the plaintiffs in the Nevson case, Mr. James Yap, who's also president of the Canadian Lawyers for International Human Rights and a member of the board of directors of the Canadian Council of International Law. He will also be speaking to you in the interview that we've had on international law. With regards to climate change and water management, I saw that we have somebody who's an expert in water management. We have Associate Professor Nadia Kuntz from UBC. She is also a Canada Research Chair in Mine Water Management and Stewardship. If we can go to the next slide, please. When we speak about financing and investors, we speak with Mr. Dean McPherson, who is the head of business development and global mining at the TSX. When we talk about sustainability and we define sustainability, who defines it for us is Professor Stephen Wood, who's Canada Research Chair in Law, Sustainability and Society. When we speak about Indigenous traditional governance, we speak to Chief Catherine Blackstock, who's the hereditary chief Gel from the Gitxsan Nation. And when we speak about anti-corruption efforts and artificial intelligence, we speak with Mr. Norman Baldwin, who's partner GRC Vista Risk Consulting and has worked all over Latin America, for example, and is very much at par with regards to artificial intelligence. This is the course, as mentioned. I created the course with Chastity Davis as well. Chastity Davis is an Indigenous person. She's an expert in Indigenous participation, and together both of our expertise and plus listening to all these leaders and experts with experience from the field on the ground really, I think, makes this course quite unique. If we can go to the next session. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the first modules 1 and 2 are very foundational. They explore, so module 1 will explore primary international legal framework. And it explores not only from a natural resource extraction perspective, but also from a sustainability, indigenous rights, human rights, anti-corruption, and climate change. Note that, and I wanted to make sure that this is really clear. In this course, we will not be taking, for example, the British Columbia Mining Act and the Ontario Mining Act and going through it clause by clause. That is not the intention of this course. This course is a much bigger vision, and it brings to bear how international law impacts national law and how those instruments are impacting business decisions. And module 1 will set that stage. Module 2 is then focused on Indigenous peoples, law, governance, and consent, and we look at the lens of colonization and why that is important to mining, how the truth and reconciliation process and journey is occurring in Canada, how all of that impacts gender, and again, we link it back to why this is critical to the mining industry. The next slide, please. As we mentioned, the next 3 modules will be focused on exploration, development, and operation. So in exploration, we look at, for example, mineral tenure and how that comes about in a number of different jurisdictions. We also look at financing issues with regards to exploration. In development and operation, we look at certain concerns that arise in development. I saw that we have a construction and engineering and construction expert. We look at some of the issues that arise during development of the mine, which sometimes is actually forgotten when we're talking about mining law, that there is a strong component that is critical for the development of the mine. And then we link it to operation. And in operations, we look at, for example, disclosure requirements. We look at transnational litigation, and we look how that all affects the mining industry. Finally, we look at how to close a mine, and we also stitch in the important tsunami movement that is now occurring on environmental social governance and what that means for the mining industry. If we could move to the next slide, please. And of course, sorry, before we move to the next slide, I just wanted to say details of the curriculum are all set out on the website. Please take a look, and you'll see that it's quite detailed, and it explains the framework that we've put together for each one of the modules. If we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So as Kerstin already mentioned, the idea is that the evaluation will be through quizzes. So what will happen will be that in each lesson, you will have one automated quiz. The intention is just to make sure that if there's any confusion or misunderstanding, that we can catch it as soon as possible, and we can help you through the course. And then we have one option, which is going through 2 case studies. And the last option is through a research paper. And of course, as Kerstin said, it's instructor assisted. So I will be able to assist in your choice of research paper. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions, we can work through it together. And I think those are my comments for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniela. That was great. So yeah, that was a very comprehensive overview, but we're really excited to hear your questions, and we want to leave lots of time for that. So again, if you want to go to slido.com, it's the same code MLS01. You can type in your questions there, and then Daniela and I will, well, mostly Daniela, I think, will answer them. Let me go. So when does registration open? We're opening today, actually, so you can start registering today. Let's see what else we have. What is the start date? It's September 27th this year. Will the program earn CEU's continuing education credits? We're still exploring that. There hasn't been a decision made on this right now. Right now it is not, but we will keep the website updated on that.
If I could just interject for one moment, Kerstin, for some reason my mouse is not working. So I'm just going to ask my colleague to step in and help with the Q&A for one moment so she can dismiss the questions that you've already answered and continue with the questions that are coming in. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so what kind of requirements? Do you need to be a lawyer or legally associated person? Daniela, I'd let you.
Yeah, for sure. So absolutely not. The intent is that you do not need to be a lawyer or legally associated or have had any contact with the law. Actually, we intend to provide this. It's to provide a framework, to provide legal literacy with regards to these issues. So there's absolutely no need to be a lawyer or legally associated person. And I should mention that if you are a lawyer and so, for example, if you are a lawyer and perhaps your specialty is pure mining law, as in dirt law, there may be some aspects of this that you are not so familiar, which is all the sort of the international aspects of this course. And for example, if you are a mergers and acquisitions lawyer, there are a number of things that are relevant still to your practice that perhaps you're not familiar with. So it really is, because of its holistic view and its view on these four different strains of sustainability concerns, I think that it provides for an interesting background, an introduction, if we can put it this way, on these issues from a legal perspective, always from a legal perspective.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so when will we offer the program again? Most likely we'll have another offering in January. We already covered when does registration open. So I think that is today. We'll get rid of that one. Perfect. Now I can see a few more questions. Is this part of a graduate program, a diploma, or a master's degree maybe? No, it is not. It is a non-credit program. It's the first actual non-credit program at the law school. So it's an executive education offering. And as such, you will have like confirmation of completion, but there is no credential attached to it, like no master's or diploma credential attached. Do you get a certificate or other designation after completion? So UBC has very strict guidelines around certificate designations. They usually have to be at least 75 hours. So because this one is a shorter certificate, it doesn't get a UBC certificate, it just gets the Allard of Law kind of certificate of completion, but it's not a UBC certificate because that would have an official credentialing. But we are exploring having a digital badge attached to the program, so that could be shared on LinkedIn and can be associated with the program, so that we can have like an official badging set up for this. Okay, tell us a little bit more about what instructor assisted means. Are these tutorials type live sessions? Are interactions participants facilitated? I can speak a little bit and then I'll give it over to Daniela. It's set up to be mostly self-directed. So there is no like live session. So there's no specific times you need to be online. There's discussion forums where you can interact with your fellow cohort members and with Daniela through when you discuss the topics and the case studies. So in that way, the interactions between participants will be facilitated by Daniela through the discussion forums, but there's no live sessions. Daniela, anything you would add to that? No? Okay. Will anti-corruption aspects have focus on so-called developing nations or also include aspects of anti-corruption in Canada, US, and Australia? Daniela.
Yes, thank you so much. That's a great question. So I should mention that I'm a member of the board of directors of Transparency International Canada, and I am very sensitive to the fact that there's a tendency to focus on the global south, and as if corruption issues were only found in the global south. And so no, the focus will not only be on the global south. We do actually discuss anti-corruption and issues associated to anti-corruption in the global north, including Canada, US, and Australia.
Okay, thank you. Will lectures be live or pre-recorded to accommodate different time zones? As I've mentioned, we don't have live lectures. It's self-directed learning, and so you'll be guided through your lessons each week by, like, you can watch the video, there's text for you to read, there is readings for you to complete, and then there's reflections you can do on your own, and then there's discussion forums you can do with your fellow participants. But it's on your own schedule, it is self-directed, so it's a very interactive content. We've tried to really balance having like video lectures and expert interviews that you can listen to, but also have readings for yourself, if that is your preferred method of learning. So we've really tried to balance different modes of learning and of conveying information, and to keep it, just very concise, and make sure that you get the most out of the time you spend on it. Okay, is this a new program? I've been trying to get info about oil and gas legal literacy. Yes, this is a brand new program. So this is our first offering that we will be running this. And it's the first time that the Allard School of Law has offered an executive education offering of this nature. So yes, it is a new program. What happens when I find myself in the field with limited to no connection? So I would have to talk to my colleagues who are designing the course, but my understanding of it is that a lot of the content you can download. So you could download the videos in advance. You can make sure that you have the readings ready for yourself. So you could prepare yourself with the content in order to be off grid if you have to miss a few weeks. It might be challenging if you're with completely no connection for the entirety of the 5 weeks, but I think we definitely would talk to our tech support team and see what's possible to make sure that it would be accessible for you during that time. Since there's no live lectures or Zoom classes you have to attend, it makes it very flexible. So I think that is something that we can definitely support or explore. If you'd have more specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Via email. You can email the program, or we'd be happy to see what we can do. Okay, what is the course fee? We just actually changed it. There's a reduction in fee that we announced just recently because we're offering this as our first initial offering. And so I'm actually just gonna double check in my notes to make sure I'm giving you the exact correct new price. So yes, the program fee for this one-time introductory offering that we're doing in September is $2,975. It's usually at $3,500 going forward. We're offering at a reduced one-time fee because we're asking all participants of the first offering to have a 20-minute one-on-one debrief with someone from the program with us afterwards, so we can learn what worked and what didn't work, so we can improve on the course as we go on. So we were hoping that would be a win-win, get a little bit of a discount on the first session and give us a chance to really get a better insight of if this course is serving the need of those who are taking it. With the readings, are they provided or do we have to track down sources? If so, how accessible are texts? Daniela, I think I can speak to the providing reading with links.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. All the readings will be provided with links.
Okay.
So you shouldn't have to track down any sort of source.
So we were providing all of the sources. How accessible are texts? So our learning software in general has accessibility criteria. So we're making sure that all of the content we have on the learning platform is accessible, that anything that is in video form or in recorded voice has the transcript attached to it. and that text is accessible in a form where you can magnify it or change it if you need to adjust text in any way to read it. If you have specific questions around accessibility, I'd love to have an email from you about that, and then I can give you the specifics of what the platform exactly does around the different accessibility criteria. Are there preliminary plans to introduce other natural resource environmental law courses? We are exploring follow-ups programs of this nature. So this is the first one. Environmental law has definitely come up in conversation. We have a lot of expertise at the faculty at the law school, so I know that there's a lot of interest. There hasn't been any decision made of what will be our next topic that we will tackle, but as soon as the decision is made, I think there will be an announcement on the website, so you can keep your eyes on the Allard website for that. I'm going to give the next one to you because I feel like that is you, Daniela.
Yeah. No, thank you. And no, and I apologize, but I want to make sure. I believe that you mean the engineers and geoscientists of BC or a professional organization such as that one. If not, please, if you could just please clarify. But I just wanted to make sure that we have spoken. It is a course that is focused on legal literacy. So we have not spoken to other professional organizations. We have spoken to industry, which we have spoken to the Mining Association of Canada. But no, we have not reached out to the engineering or geoscientist organizations, no.
Okay. There is a class 391, I believe, for oil and gas, with some material come from that course. No, so we haven't. So yeah, the content has been created by Daniela.
No, yeah, sorry, Kerstin. I just wanted to clarify. No, there's absolutely no overlap with regards to any other course other than this course.
Yeah. Okay, is this program associated with the mining department at UBC? It is a program that is run through the law school, specifically in collaboration with Extended Learning at UBC. We have consulted and worked with the mining department at UBC in the lead up of creating this course. They have a number of things in the pipeline as well. There are different formats. This is a very, like the 5-week format, the executive ed is something that is very specific to this new kind of Allard suite of professional development opportunities. I know that the mining department already has and is also developing, I think, larger and for credit offerings in this realm. So it's not associated or offered through the mining department, it's offered through the School of Law. But yes, we have definitely had conversations with them in the lead up of creating this program.
I'm sorry, and I did want to add that we do have 2 interviews with experts from the mining department. So, for example, I mentioned Professor Nadia Kunz with regards to water management, but we also have another professor, which I apologize, I don't have his name with me, but he when we speak about tailing dams and we talk about tailing dams management, he was actually a member of the global tailings review project. And so we have tapped into the mining department at UBC for the course. So sorry, can I take the next one? I just wanted to say thank you so much for that clarification. Yes, no, it does not. So this course does not tap into professional practice and ethics, sort of cross standardization or anything like that.
Okay, what is the takeaway from this course? How is this going to enhance someone's career?
So if I can answer that. So as a mining executive for more than 20 years, what I think this course does is that long gone are the days that only sustainability professionals understand sustainability issues and understand how they impact on the mining industry. And what this course does is that it gives legal literacy. I'm sorry, my children are here. Just 1 minute.
Sorry about that.
I apologize. It's late where I am, but what this course does is that it allows for whoever wherever you are in your career, to have a broader understanding of sustainability and why it is so critical and so important for the mining industry today. And for the next 10 years, what we're going to see is going to be an enormous increase in the regulation of climate law, in the regulation of anti-corruption, and in the regulation of sustainability. And I think that this course places you in the perfect position to really understand the next wave of regulations that will be happening, undoubtedly. And just as a final point, I saw that there were a lot of mining industry individuals that are here. Mining has a dual responsibility in the next 50 years, in which we're seeing a renaissance in mining because mining is going to power the new green economy. But it also has the responsibility to ensure that it is done in a sustainable manner. So this course looks at these two important aspects of mining and really tries to explore how the decision-making process needs to take into consideration different voices. And I think that the broader that understanding, the better decisions that you are going to make and the more presence you will have at any table.
Okay.
And sorry for my children. As I said, working from home in this global pandemic is, I'm sure, hasn't been easy for everybody.
So, Kerstin and Daniela, that's the amount of questions we have for now. But I feel that Daniela spoke to some really interesting things there in that last question around careers, that it just might prompt some, we'll give our listeners today some time to think about a potential question, because yes, you certainly hold efficient information sessions, Kerstin and Daniela. You work through those questions excellently. Well done. Is there, I would ask both of you, is there any question that was not asked that you were expecting, perhaps? Nothing comes to mind?
No, it seems like
you feel like you've covered it all?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Okay.
It seemed a very comprehensive set of questions. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, I'm happy to give another minute or two to see if anyone else has questions. Just add them on Slido and we'll answer them for you. Otherwise, I'm also happy to move to wrap up. Yeah. Daniela, anything you wanted to add?
No, there's absolutely nothing that I wanted to add other than please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or any doubts. Please let us know, and we hope to answer your questions.
Yeah,
we're very. What I should say is that I am super excited with this course. It's Kerstin knows we've put it together during a global pandemic year. It wasn't an easy endeavor, but I think that it really is quite unique in its breadth and in its vision in with regards to interweaving these issues within the business decision overview.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about it as well. So yeah, I just have a few, the last slide, just kind of summarizing again. The program fee is $2,975. As I mentioned, the one-time introductory fee, it'll go up after this. The start date is September 27th. It'll run for 5 weeks to October 29th. Registration is open today, so please feel free to go ahead and register. And we will have another info session on June 15th at 10 a.m. at PST. And so we will have more information on that coming via email. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter on updates for this, please, you can do so on the website, and then you will get all information about any upcoming info sessions. As I said at the beginning, we will be posting the recording of this info session to the Extended Learning YouTube channel, and it will also be emailed out to everyone who had RSVP, so you have a copy of it. Yeah, so thank you all very much for attending. It has Been a pleasure. I'm really glad that we had so much interest in our first info session. That's very encouraging for us. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can direct them at info.exl for extended learning at ubc.ca. And you can find the recording at youtube.com/UBC Extended Learning. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. And yeah, email us with any additional questions if you have them after the session ends.